11 seconds every day. A senior in America is facing a life-altering event. Happens suddenly and linked to a health risk that nearly no one has on their radar. Your loved one might be carrying it right now, and you wouldn't know until it's too late. Now there's a twist. Preventing the specific thing that could be impacting your loved one doesn't take expensive treatments. It takes spotting one subtle pattern in daily life. We'll show you exactly how to see it before the clock runs out. Welcome back, everyone. I wish today's conversation was just a friendly chat about healthy recipes or fun activities, but this is heavier. It's personal. It's about something I've seen affect people I care about, and maybe people you care about too, without anyone even knowing it was there.
That's right, Susan. What we're talking about today is a condition that hides in plain sight, frailty syndrome. And the word itself is misleading. People think it means being old and fragile, maybe using a walker or looking thin and tired. But the truth is, frailty starts long before any of that is visible.
You know, it's interesting. My neighbor, Jim, he's 76. He still drives, mows his lawn, and even plays cards at the community center. But lately I've noticed he moves just a little slower, and sometimes he grabs onto the arm of a chair before standing up. If I'm honest, I didn't think much of it until you and I started talking about this.
And that's exactly how it sneaks in, Susan. Early frailty doesn't wave a red flag. It whispers. Maybe you start avoiding stairs. Maybe you stop walking to the store because it's just easier to drive. These small changes don't feel like warning signs, but over time they add up to a body that can't bounce back from even the smallest challenge.
Like catching the flu or slipping on ice.
Exactly. There's a 2023 Johns Hopkins study showing that seniors with mild frailty were 3 times more likely to be hospitalized after what most people would call minor illnesses, things like mild pneumonia, urinary tract infections, or short bouts of dehydration. That's because frailty is a measure of the body's reserve, its ability to respond to stress.
And here's the part that really caught my attention when we discussed this before. Frailty isn't just physical, is it?
No, it's not. It's also tied to cognition and mental resilience. A 2022 University College London study found that seniors showing early signs of physical frailty were significantly more likely to experience memory decline within the next 2 years. The body and mind are more interconnected than most people realize.
So this isn't just about keeping your balance or being able to walk a certain distance. It's about protecting your independence, your sharpness, your ability to live the life you want.
Exactly. And yet, most primary care checkups don't measure it. They'll check your blood pressure, cholesterol, maybe your weight, but they're not checking your grip strength, your walking speed, or how long it takes you to get out of a chair. Simple measures that can predict serious outcomes.
Which is crazy because I can think of a dozen ways to measure that without even leaving your living room.
You're right. And one of the simplest and most telling is the sit-to-stand test. In a moment, I'll walk you through exactly how to do it safely at home. But first, I want people to understand why this matters so much.
Go on. You're holding us in suspense here.
Well, there's a reason. The University of Sydney ran a long-term study on over 2,000 adults aged 60 and older. They found that people who could rise from a chair without using their arms in under 10 seconds had a significantly lower risk of dying in the next decade. That's not scare tactics, that's hard data.
That's incredible. And I imagine if someone takes longer than 10 seconds, it's not like they're doomed. It's just a sign to take action.
Precisely. Think of it like a warning light on your dashboard. It's not saying the car's totaled, it's saying you need maintenance now. The earlier you address it, the better your chances of avoiding a breakdown.
And I know some people listening right now are probably thinking, well, I'm not a gym person, or I'm too old to build strength. But you've told me before that's just not true.
It's not. There's a remarkable 2021 study from Tufts University showing that even people in their 80s and 90s can improve muscle strength and reverse frailty indicators in just 8 to 12 weeks with safe, targeted exercise. The human body is astonishing in its ability to adapt, even late in life.
I love that. It's hopeful. And I think hope is half the battle when it comes to making changes.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Hope works best when paired with action, and action starts with awareness. If you can't spot early frailty, you can't fight it.
You mentioned earlier that it's more than just physical. Can you explain that a little more? Because I think a lot of people might be missing that connection.
Sure. One big factor is what's called inflammatory load. As frailty progresses, the body often experiences chronic, low-grade inflammation. This isn't the kind that makes you obviously sick, it's silent. But it quietly damages blood vessels, nerves, and even brain cells. A 2022 Mayo Clinic study found that seniors with higher inflammatory markers were much more likely to experience both mobility decline and memory loss.
So we're talking about something that's not just stealing strength, but also thinking ability, mood, maybe even personality over time?
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to take it seriously early on.
I have to admit, I'm thinking back to my Aunt Linda. She's sharp, she's funny, but she's been more tired lately. I brushed it off as just age. Now I'm wondering if I've been missing something.
And you're not alone. Families miss it all the time. Part of my mission is to make people aware so they can intervene before a crisis hits.
You know, the hard part is that seniors themselves often downplay these changes. They don't want to worry anyone.
Right. And that's why, in just a little bit, I'm going to share specific questions you can ask and the way you should ask them to get real, honest answers without making your loved one defensive.
I like where this is going.
But before we get to that, let's talk about why frailty often isn't caught until it's too late. One big reason is the medical system's focus on treating problems after they happen rather than preventing them. We don't have a frailty screening in most annual checkups.
Which sounds like such a missed opportunity.
It is, and it's why I encourage people to advocate for themselves. Ask your doctor to check your walking speed, your grip strength, your balance. These are quick, non-invasive tests, but they can reveal a lot.
And if the doctor pushes back?
That's where you use the right language. Instead of saying, I just want to know if I'm frail, say, I'd like to assess my physical resilience and risk of hospitalization. That reframes it in medical terms that get attention.
Oh, that's clever. I never would have thought to put it that way.
Yeah, it's one of the scripts that I give my patients. In fact, I have a few more communication tips I'll share later in the episode, things you can use right away at your next appointment.
So let's recap where we are, not with bullet points, but just in the flow here. We've got a condition that's common, deadly, and invisible to most people, yet we can actually measure and improve it if we pay attention early.
And that's the part I hope gives people both urgency and optimism. You don't have to be a victim of this silent risk, but the clock is always ticking.
And in just a moment, you're going to give us that at-home sit-to-stand test, right?
I am. But I'm also going to tell you why some people get a false pass on that test. Just because you can stand quickly doesn't mean you're in the clear. And there's a hidden factor that can mask frailty in its early stages. That's coming up right after this.
So, okay, you had me at false pass. I'm ready. How do we do the at-home test safely, and what should we watch for so we don't get fooled?
Perfect. First, safety. Choose a sturdy chair without wheels, with a firm seat and armrests nearby, not to use during the test, but to catch yourself if needed. Place the chair against a wall so it can't slide. Wear stable shoes. If you've had a recent fall, dizziness, or chest pain, have someone stand beside you. Now here's the simple version. Sit upright, feet flat, arms crossed lightly over your chest. On go, stand up fully and sit back down 5 times without using your hands. Time it. If 5 repeated sit-to-stands take longer than 15 seconds, that's a yellow flag. If it takes over 20 seconds, that's a red flag for reduced lower body power and endurance.
15 seconds. That feels so specific and scary, but also empowering because I can do that today.
Exactly. And here's the false pass trap. Some people launch with momentum, rocking forward, letting gravity and speed do the work instead of muscle power. Others stop locking their knees at the top, shaving seconds, or they shift weight to one stronger leg because the other is quietly weaker after an old knee or hip issue. If you see big rocking, incomplete standing, or heavy one-leg dominance, that good time is not the whole story. Others stop locking their knees at the top, shaving seconds, or they shift weight.
That's me trying to look good in front of my husband. See, I'm quick. Meanwhile, I'm basically doing a magic trick. That's me trying to look good in front of my husband. See, I'm quick. Meanwhile, I'm basically doing a magic trick. That's me trying to look good in front of my husband. See, I'm quick.
And the body keeps score. So pair the chair test with 2 add-ons. First, a 10-second balance check. Stand with feet together, eyes open, then semi-tandem, heel beside the opposite big toe, then full tandem, heel directly in front of toe. If you're shaky or can't hold tandem for 10 seconds, we found another early sign. Second, a grip check. If you have a simple spring hand gripper or a bathroom scale you can press with your hand against a wall, compare sides. If one side feels markedly weaker or you can't generate a firm squeeze for 3 seconds, we should pay attention. In clinical terms, low grip strength is one of the strongest single predictors of frailty progression and all-cause mortality within 5 to 10 years.
I can hear our listeners thinking, this is me. It's a little sobering, David.
It is, and it should be, because urgency creates change.
I can hear our listeners thinking, this is me.
But here's the hope. Small, consistent actions reverse the trend. We're not chasing perfection, we're building resilience. And the evidence is very kind to late bloomers.
Bring on the evidence. You promised research. I want our audience to feel rock solid about what to do next.
Let's anchor 3 pillars: movement, protein, and recovery. On movement, a 2023 umbrella review in JAMA Network Open looked at multi-component programs, strength, balance, and gait training combined, and found significantly reduced falls and improved functional capacity in older adults, with benefits detectable within 8 to 12 weeks. For protein, a 2022 European Geriatrics Guideline update recommended 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for healthy older adults, and up to 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram per day for those with acute or chronic illness, paired with resistance exercise to actually build muscle, not just feed it. And on recovery, a 2021 sleep medicine meta-analysis linked improving sleep efficiency with better lower extremity strength and faster walking speed because muscle repair is hormonally sleep-dependent.
Movement, protein, recovery. That's human, not a fad. And it doesn't require a gym membership or fancy trackers.
Exactly. Now let's translate this into the living room. If your 5-rep chair test took more than 15 seconds, we'll start with 2 anchors: sit-to-stand practice and supported heel raises. Twice a day, set a timer for 3 minutes. Do slow, controlled sit-to-stands. No rocking, no arm assist. If 3 minutes is too long, do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Then face the kitchen counter, fingertips resting for safety, and rise on your toes slowly for a 2 count up, 2 count down. Start with 5 to 8 reps if you're new, and build to 15. That combo alone begins restoring quad and calf power, which directly reduces fall risk.
I can already hear someone saying, but I walk every day. Where does walking fit?
Walking is wonderful for heart and mood. It's not enough to reverse frailty alone. Think of walking as the delivery truck that spreads the benefits. Strength training is the factory that makes the goods. Without the factory, the truck has nothing to deliver. So we add 2 micro-strength moves that most seniors tolerate well. A gentle hip hinge with hands sliding down to the knees and back up, like a mini deadlift with no weight. And a wall push press. Hands at shoulder height, lean into the wall, press away. Keep breathing. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps each, 3 non-consecutive days per week. That dosage is supported by multiple trials, Tufts, McMaster, and Brazilian programs, showing strength gains and faster sit-to-stand times in adults well into their 80s and 90s.
And we haven't even left the house. Okay, talk to me about the kitchen, because protein trips people up. Seniors tell me, I eat plenty, but then breakfast is toast and jam, lunch is soup, dinner is rice with a little vegetable. Lots of carbs, not much muscle food.
You just described the common pattern, protein light, carb heavy. For a 70-kilogram adult, about 154 pounds, our baseline of 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram per day means 70 to 84 grams of protein spaced across the day, not all at dinner. A 2022 randomized trial in Clinical Nutrition ESPN showed that distributing protein evenly in meals, roughly 25 to 30 grams at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, produced greater muscle synthesis than the same total packed into one meal. So a pragmatic plate might look like Greek yogurt plus a handful of nuts at breakfast, an egg and bean bowl or cottage cheese and fruit at lunch, and lentils, tofu, fish, or poultry at dinner. If chewing is hard, use soft options, scrambled eggs, yogurt, smooth nut butter, protein-fortified soups.
That feels doable. And for listeners who are plant-forward?
Totally workable. Pair legumes with grains, lentils with rice, hummus with whole grain pitas to round out amino acids. Soy products like tofu and tempeh are complete proteins. Just aim for that per meal target and consider adding 800 to 1,000 milligrams per day of calcium and 800 to 1,000 IU per day of vitamin D if your doctor agrees. A 2023 meta-analysis in Osteoporosis International linked vitamin D sufficiency with better lower extremity strength and reduced fall risk, especially when combined with balance training. Of course, we tailor dosing to labs. This isn't one size fits all.
I promised our audience human moments, so here's mine. When I tried to eat more protein, I added a huge dinner and felt heavy and sleepy. Spreading it out, that would have saved me.
The body prefers steady supply over feast and famine. And while we're on steady supply, hydration. Mild dehydration masquerades as fatigue and dizziness. A 2022 analysis in the Journal of Gerontology linked low daily fluid intake with slower gait speed and poorer chair stand performance. A simple rule of thumb is, unless your doctor has you on fluid restriction, aim for pale straw urine by afternoon. Herbal tea counts. Soup counts. Water-rich fruit counts.
We've given people a home test, movement starter kit, kitchen strategy, hydration. Before we go further, can we address a tender reality? Sometimes the doctor's office feels rushed. Listeners tell me, my doctor doesn't listen, they freeze, they forget questions, they leave without a plan.
This is so common. Let's script it. Before the visit, write on one index card, my goal today is to assess my resilience and fall-related risk. Under it, 2 bullets, symptom patterns and a request. For example, in the last 3 months, I take longer to stand from chairs and I avoid stairs due to fatigue. And then, I'd like a timed chair stand test, gait speed check, and a grip strength measure, please. When you say, I'd like these specific functional tests, you convert a vague worry into actionable care. If you meet resistance, try this. I understand time is tight. What can we do today, and what can we schedule for a follow-up?
That lands. It's respectful but firm, and it gives the doctor a way to say yes without feeling cornered.
Exactly. Bring one advocate if possible, a spouse, adult child, or friend, to take notes. Studies show that information recall doubles when a support person is present. And ask for the numbers. What was my time on the chair test? What was my walking speed? If your gait speed is under 0.8 meters per second over 4 meters, that's a risk marker. If your 5-rep chair test is over 15 seconds, same. Numbers help you track progress and motivate action.
Numbers as motivation. I like that. Because improvement feels like winning back ground you didn't know you lost.
And you can win it back. A 2024 trial in the Lancet Healthy Longevity showed that combining progressive lower body strength twice weekly with balance drills 3 times weekly cut injurious falls by nearly 30% in high-risk older adults over 12 months. That's enormous. That's the difference between living at home and moving after a hip fracture.
You just said the word that terrifies families, hip fracture. We hear about people never really bouncing back.
It's a pivotal event, but here's the empowering reframe. Frailty detection and training are hip fracture prevention. Every controlled sit-to-stand you do is a deposit in the don't fracture bank. Every balanced 10 seconds in tandem is a deposit, and those deposits compound.
So for the person who just timed their 5 stands at 19 seconds and felt a little defeated, what's the first win you'd give them this week? One small win.
Beautiful question. Day 1, choose a chair you trust, set a 3-minute timer, and do the slowest, best form sit-to-stands you can. Maybe it's 5 total, maybe it's 10. Celebrate the last rep like it mattered, because it does. Day 3, add the toe raises at the counter. Day 5, practice semi-tandem balance while brushing your teeth, 10 seconds each side. End of week 1, retest your 5 chair stands. If you shaved even 1 second, you're on track. That small gain predicts bigger ones, and the research shows early wins correlate with long-term adherence.
And if they didn't shave a second?
Then we troubleshoot. Did you sleep poorly? Eat too little protein, feel anxious and rush? We adjust one variable, never everything at once. Maybe we push protein earlier in the day, Greek yogurt within an hour of waking. Maybe we move practice to mid-morning when energy is higher. And if pain held you back, we address that first. Untreated knee or hip pain causes compensations that hide frailty on tests and accelerate it in life.
That's the twist you hinted at. The hidden factor that masks frailty.
Pain and its cousin, fear of pain. People shorten their range of motion to avoid discomfort. They pass a test with speed, but no control. Or they stop doing the hard thing, stairs, getting to the floor to play with grandkids, and their world quietly shrinks. A 2023 cohort study in arthritis care and research showed that older adults with knee pain reduced daily steps by nearly 20% over 6 months, independent of weather or season. That activity loss predicts faster strength decline. So we treat pain, gentle mobility, heat, physician-guided topical NSAIDs when appropriate, and if needed, physical therapy. Reducing pain often reveals the honest baseline, and then we can build.
That's compassionate. Don't bully your body into passing. Tell the truth, then train the truth.
Exactly. And training the truth includes the brain. Dual task drills, like counting backward by 3s while you walk, or naming a fruit each step of a heel-to-toe line, challenge gait and cognition together. A 2022 neurology paper showed that dual task training improved walking speed under distraction and reduced fall risk in older adults who previously froze when multitasking. Start at your kitchen counter for safety.
Okay, listeners, if you hear your spouse muttering apple, banana, cherry while heel-to-toe walking, don't worry, Dr. Harper told them to do that.
Guilty as charged. Now, one more clinical pearl, then a teaser.
If you or your loved one lost more than 5% of body weight unintentionally in the last year, say 8 pounds off a 160-pound frame, ring the bell. Unintentional weight loss plus exhaustion plus slow gait is the classic frailty triad. Bring it to your clinician with the exact timeline. I lost 8 pounds between February and July without trying. I nap more. My walking feels slow. Timeline plus function equals action in the exam room.
You're giving people language and courage. That matters. What's the teaser?
Coming up, I'm going to lay out a simple, research-aligned 3x3 home resilience plan. 3 movements, 3 food upgrades, 3 balance drills you can start this week, plus the exact phrasing to get your doctor to order baseline labs that actually matter for muscle and nerve function. And I'll show you how to turn your living room into a safe training zone with 1 towel, 1 chair, and 1 wall. But first, one last story because it captures why small steps now prevent big crises later.
I'm ready.
A patient of mine, let's call her Maria, 79, passed the chair test at 13 seconds by rocking hard and using momentum. Her daughter said, "See, Mom's fine." But Maria avoided stairs, hated curbs, and napped every afternoon. Her gait speed was 0.72 meters per second, slow enough to flag. We started the simplest plan: 3 minutes of honest sit-to-stands, toe raises, and semi-tandem balance 5 days a week. Breakfast protein up to 25 grams, 1 extra glass of water before noon. At week 4, no rocking. At week 8, her chair test was 11 seconds, clean. Her daughter cried when Maria walked the block unassisted for the first time in months. That's not a miracle. That's physiology plus consistency.
That sounds like freedom. And it started with telling the truth about the test.
It always does. Tell the truth, then train the truth. After the break, we'll build your 3x3 home resilience plan, and I'll give you the one line I wish every patient would say at the start of their appointment. It changes the entire visit.
Welcome back. You promised a 3x3 home resilience plan, plus the one line that changes a doctor's visit. I'm ready to write it on a sticky note.
And I'm ready to make it simple. Think of this as a living room protocol you can start today with progress you can feel in weeks and measure in months. No gimmicks, just consistent inputs your muscles, nerves, and balance understand.
I like it. Where do we begin?
With a picture, imagine a 3-legged stool. If any leg splinters, the whole thing tips. The legs are strength, balance, and fuel. We'll prime all 3, gently at first, then progressively, because frailty retreats fastest when those systems rise together. And every piece we're about to do is mirrored by research, which I'll weave in so listeners know this is more than good intentions.
Encouraging. Paint it for us. People are literally standing in their kitchens right now.
Good. For strength, we return to that trusted chair. Sit tall, feet under knees, arms lightly crossed. Stand all the way up, sit all the way down, smooth, quiet, no rocking. Your pace is a 4 count. 1-2 up, 1-2 down. If you can do 5 in a row with clean form, rest 20 seconds and do 5 more. That's day 1. Now add a hip hinge. Hands slide down thighs to knees, chest stays proud, hips move back like you're closing a drawer with your glutes, then stand tall. Finally, add a counter for safety, slow heel raises. 2 counts up, 2 counts down. Those 3, sit to stand, hinge, heel raise, are your daily signal to your nervous system to recruit fibers you haven't asked for in years. A 2023 pragmatic trial in JAMA Network Open showed that community-dosed lower body strength work twice weekly improved chair stand times and walking speed within 12 weeks, even in adults over 80. We're simply distributing those signals across the week so recovery keeps up.
The count helps. It keeps me honest. And the science makes me braver. When you say, this changed times and speeds, I can picture my own numbers moving.
Exactly the goal. For balance, start with a stance you trust, feet hip-width apart, fingertips grazing the counter. Find the floor with your eyes, then the horizon, then close your eyes for just 2 seconds and open them again. Little doses of challenge. Shift to semi-tandem. Heel beside the opposite big toe. Count to 10. Breathe. Then full tandem. Heel directly in front of toe. Count to 10. The moment you wobble, touch, reset, continue. A 2022 randomized trial in the BMJ found that short, frequent balance doses, minutes, not hours, cut falls substantially when paired with lower body strengthening. A 2024 neurology update on dual task balance reinforced the brain side benefit. Coordinating balance while counting or naming objects improved gait under distraction and reduced freezing episodes in older adults with cognitive changes.
So, if I'm whispering apple, banana, cherry while heel to toe, my neighbors should not stage an intervention.
They should join you. And now fuel, the leg most people ignore. Protein spread across the day, hydration to the point your afternoon urine looks like pale straw, and micronutrients that support muscle, nerve, and bone. A 2023 position statement from the ProteAge study group reaffirmed that healthy older adults do better at 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram per day of protein with even distribution. A 2022 randomized crossover trial in clinical nutrition showed that a high-protein breakfast, roughly 25 to 30 grams, boosted muscle protein synthesis more than a low-protein start with a huge dinner, even when daily totals matched. On hydration, a 2022 gerontology analysis connected low habitual fluid intake to slower 5-rep chair times and shorter functional reach. Translate that to less steady, less powerful. And vitamin D sufficiency matters. A 2023 meta-analysis in Osteoporosis International linked adequate vitamin D plus balance training to fewer falls versus balance training alone.
I can do that. Breakfast wasn't doing any heavy lifting for me. Now I'm hearing, put some protein in the morning and let lunch help.
Exactly. Greek yogurt, eggs, tofu scramble, cottage cheese with fruit, a smoothie built on milk or soy milk plus met butter, whatever fits your culture and teeth. And if appetite is small, think density, not volume. A tablespoon of peanut butter adds about 4 grams. A half cup of cottage cheese gets you 14. Small, frequent nudges win.
Before we go further, talk to the families trying to do this with a loved one who resists any plan. You know the script. I'm fine, don't fuss, I don't want to bother the doctor.
Meet them at identity, not tasks. Try, I know you value your independence. This is how we protect it. Give me 3 minutes before lunch. Just 3, and then I'll stop nagging. 3 minutes is unthreatening. Independence is sacred. Then make the plan visible. Put a kitchen timer on the counter. Tape a small calendar on the wall and mark a simple check mark each day you do the 3 minutes. Habit research. There's a 2021 American Journal of Health Promotion series on microdosing movement. Shows that visible streaks beat willpower. And when the doctor visit arrives, your check marks are data.
Improving. Talk to me about that one sentence for the doctor, the sticky note one.
Doctor, my goal today is to reduce my fall and hospitalization risk by improving my physical resilience. Could we measure where I am now and set a plan? And when the doctor visit arrives, your check marks are data.
Improving. Talk to me about that one sentence for the doctor, the sticky note one.
Doctor, my goal today is to reduce my fall and hospitalization risk by improving my physical resilience. Could we measure where I am now and set? That's the sentence. It places the visit in prevention, not fear, and invites measurement. Then you can name 3 measures that matter: timed 5-rep chair stand, 4-meter gait speed, and grip strength.
If time is tight, ask what can be done today and what can be scheduled. Clinicians respond to goals and metrics.
And the labs. You hinted at labs that actually matter for muscle and nerve function.
The menu varies by person, but here's the logic. If energy is low and legs are heavy, we look for reversible contributors. A complete blood count for anemia, a basic metabolic panel for electrolytes, thyroid-stimulating hormone for thyroid status, vitamin B12 because deficiency weakens nerves and produces fatigue, vitamin D because deficiency weakens bone and muscle, ferritin if there's concern about iron stores, hemoglobin A1C to see if blood sugar swings are blunting recovery, and a high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, HSCRP, to get a sense of inflammatory load. None of these diagnose frailty alone, but together they explain why the same plan feels easy for one person and grinding for another. A 2023 review in Nature Aging discussed biomarker patterns, vitamin D, inflammatory cytokines, and insulin resistance that correlate with sarcopenia and physical function. That's why a tailored plan beats a generic one.
You've said tailored twice. I'm hearing don't copy your neighbor's plan. That's hard on social media where everyone has the one routine that fixed everything.
Your body has a biography your neighbor doesn't share. Old injuries, medications, grief, joy, sleep patterns. We honor that biography. Speaking of medications, one clinical reality we have to say out loud is that certain drugs increase fall risk and sap power. A 2022 Annals of Internal Medicine trial on deprescribing sedatives and hypnotics in older adults showed fewer falls and better daytime function when those drugs were tapered judiciously. If your loved one feels groggy, wobbly, or foggy, ask, could any medication be making balance worse? With the prescriber's guidance, we don't stop anything on our own, we review and plan.
Thank you for saying that carefully. I know how sensitive that is. Bring us back to hope. You promised this would feel doable, not a boot camp.
Hope is in the first rep that feels cleaner than yesterday. In the first 10 seconds, you hold tandem without tapping the counter. In the first morning, you notice the stairs feel less like a mountain. A 2024 trial in the Lancet Healthy Longevity, this is one I mentioned earlier, showed meaningfully fewer injurious falls over a year with a realistic home protocol. The curve began separating as early as 12 weeks. That's soon. That's a season.
A season. Okay, talk me through a week for a listener who's at 19 seconds on the chair test, wobbly in tandem, and not eating much breakfast. Give me the human version.
Monday morning, a small protein-forward breakfast. Half cup of yogurt with berries or a scrambled egg with toast. Mid-morning, 3 minutes. Sit to stands at your cleanest form, then heel raises, then 1 10-second semi-tandem hold each side. Afternoon, a 10-minute walk at conversation pace. Evening, water with dinner. Tuesday, same breakfast target. Add the hip hinge for 8 slow reps. After lunch, heel to toe line along the counter while naming colors or cities. Thursday, repeat Monday. Friday, test 5 clean chair stands and write the time on that wall calendar. If it's the same, that's okay. You trained truthfully. If it's 1 second faster, ring a bell. Saturday and Sunday, you keep the 3-minute ritual alive even if shorter. And each day, you speak to yourself like you would to a grandchild learning to ride a bike. Firm, kind, consistent.
My wall calendar is going to look like a victory banner. Talk to me about setbacks. Flu, bad night's sleep, a family emergency, you miss days and feel like you ruined it.
You didn't ruin anything. You paused. We resume with what I call the forgiveness workout. 1 minute only. Any mix of the 3 movements, just to reattach identity to action. Then we return to the 3 minutes the next day. Longitudinal studies. There's a 2023 Geriatrics and Gerontology International analysis show that adherence wins over intensity in older adults. Consistency carries the trophy.
Before we close, give me 2 more human moments. 1, the line you want families to use when fear gets in the way. 2, the feeling you want people to carry after this episode ends.
The line is, "I'm not trying to make you younger, I'm helping the future you thank the present you." It reframes training as a gift to your tomorrow. And the feeling, agency. Not false confidence, not panic, agency. The sense that your hands belong on the steering wheel and you know how to turn even in rain. And the
Agency. I wish I could bottle that. Before our final call to action, any last clinical pearls?
2 final notes for safety and momentum. First, pain is data, not an order to stop living. We respect it. We adjust range. We seek guidance. We don't let it quietly shrink the world. Second, celebrate function, not appearance. When your 5-rep time drops, that's your new selfie.
I love that. My new selfie is 11 seconds. Okay, let's land this. For everyone listening, if you did the chair test, if you stood in tandem and felt the wobble, if you realize breakfast isn't feeding your muscles, you just found your starting line. Today, claim 3 minutes for strength and balance. Tonight, place something protein forward where you'll see it in the morning. This week, put a small calendar on the wall and record your time. And at your next appointment, lead with the sentence, "My goal is to reduce my fall and hospitalization risk by improving my physical resilience." Can we measure where I am and set a plan?
And if you're caring for someone you love, remember, the most powerful change is the one you can repeat. It doesn't have to be heroic. It has to be honest. Tell the truth, then train the truth.
You are not powerless. You are not late. You are starting. If this episode helped, share it with one person who needs agency back. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because next week, we're revealing something families miss all the time: the hidden signs of bone loss every senior needs to know, and the one daily habit that quietly protects your skeleton while you sleep. That's your teaser. Dr. Harper, thank you for the clarity and the heart.
Always a privilege, Susan. See you next week.
Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, 3 minutes today changes the way next month feels. We'll be right here with